We're going to break down the 16 different systems at this really impressive agroforestry farm with a focus on animals and commercial production. It's in northern Italy with Matteo Mazzola, he's a legend, and we're going to actually break down each of the 16 designs. You can see we've gone through all 16 of the systems are right here. So enjoy this video, it's full of lessons and dissecting all the details and the information from these systems so you can apply the lessons to your own farm. The first 25 minutes are going to be Matteo and his journey and about the farm, and then we're going to dive right into the systems. By the way, there's a special bonus one at the end, so stick around.
I call the sheep, meanwhile. I don't think farmer is a good word. I think is stewards of the land. But when you are steward of the land, you're taking care of so many different aspects. It's not just about agriculture. It's not just about society. It's not just about building tools. It's not just about architecture. It's about everything. So it's not like, I am a farmer and I have to produce. No, you have to produce something good for yourself and for the society and for the ecosystems. What's the best thing you can do? Well, you choose it.
Super nice bells. We're here in northern Italy at Matteo's farm, and it's really interesting because yes, there's agroforestry, there's beautiful palonia and vegetable beds behind me, but the focus of his system is not syntropic agroforestry. He actually avoids that word. His focus is animals and commercial viability. Matteo is amazing. He's a great practitioner, been doing this for a long time, and he's also just got this really nice philosophical take on a lot of it, but also the super practical stuff of how do you simplify systems so they're not overly complex. You can see the apples here with the palonia and the vegetables. Super simple, commercially viable, and it's not this crazy complex thing. So that's what I really appreciate about Matteo and his approach. Welcome to his farm. You're gonna get a lot of value out of this. Enjoy the video. We're at a lake here in northern Italy, very different climate. It's a small little village called Susano, and it's very different. Obviously, it's more green, steep slopes, there's lakes here, whereas in the south of Italy, there was no rivers, no lakes, it was dry and arid. The conditions here, way more temperate, right? A lot of walnuts, cherries, hazelnuts. What else are we seeing? Obviously loquats, they're killing it. Almonds right there. No, sorry, elderberry, olives, mulberries, blueberries, raspberries. Much more temperate species selection. Pomegranates too. We're gonna see a lot of cool stuff, but at the moment we've just been enjoying. It's absolutely beautiful here. We've got mountains. Come enjoy this farm tour in Italy with Matteo. Matteo.
Welcome.
Big pleasure. So if you're interested in making agroforestry viable, what this can look like in northern Italy, you're doing some incredible work at the farm here, you're doing consulting, there's social systems happening, there's a lot to dive into. It's going to be really beautiful. Matteo, who are you?
I'm Matteo, Matteo Mazzola. I grew up 200 kilometers away from here, and in a town, but I was always interested in nature, ecology, and I suffered quite a bit institution and school and so on. So I was very happy to leave after the high school exam. I took my bike and I went around Europe, North Africa, and the whole world for 8 years studying. I studied agriculture at high school, so I did 5 years in agricultural school. We had our farm labs and so on, so it was super good. And then I decided to keep on studying, but not at university, but just going to courses and following consultants and people of which I read books.
And did that start you down kind of like the permaculture path, or was it still?
I was already there. Like during high school, I remember looking. That was in 2004. Still remember looking at the permaculture Italian association website. Very ugly one, but I was super interested. So my aim was always organic agroecology and so on. So I did my permaculture course later in 2009 because I was looking for the right mentor and teacher. So I did actually in Mallorca a course, the last PDC that Darren Doherty has been teaching. So from there, before that actually I did holistic management training and many other courses and so on.
So a lot of different disciplines you're involved with.
Yeah. For me, the multidisciplinary and systemic approach is the key. Otherwise, we get excited and passionate about a technique and the method, but we don't have the structure to approach with complexity. systems that may not need a particular technique or method.
I really admired that.
Yeah.
I want to say.
Beautiful.
And that reflects in what you were just saying before about kind of, you mentioned an open consulting day where, yes, you're at a farm, but there's other farmers there to strategize and see what solutions, rather than you being the expert and coming up with these fancy ideas like, do this, do that, but it's out of touch with reality. And so I'm seeing more and more of that reflected in just your story. So super admirable.
Yeah, I think it is part of the personal and psychological and cultural succession from individualistic and narcissistic way of living, typical of this society, which is consolidating towards that direction, going by living by example of nature, going to more functional collectiveness, and also depotentiating the importance of the individual out of the system. So I think it is very important. If nature can't teach us, I think we are missing something. So basically, a system that doesn't change the human element of the system, it means that there is something not working. If the system allows you to evolve toward a more functional being within your system, I think you're going to the right direction.
How do you see that playing out on the farm here?
Basically, we started with me and Paula, my partner. Actually, she started by choosing this place, and I moved from another farm to this farm. And we started together at the beginning. And now we find ourselves to be 7 people with different ecological functions within the productive system. We have kindergartens, we produce tools for market gardening, we have vegetables, we have mushrooms with fruits, animals. I do consultancies and education. I mean, with Massimiliano, we run education programs and consultancy programs for farmers around Italy. Maddie is doing all the medicinal herbs and all those things. So basically, we grew up a system. We never wanted to have employees because we wanted to have people responsible of different functional areas of the system. And rather than telling to people what to do because it was in our mind. So what we did, we planted a lot of abundance, and then abundance has to be managed. I remember when I was at David Holmgreen in Australia at Meliodora, he was telling me, look, at the beginning I thought, now we create a complex system, and then the system, it will self-manage itself. I realized after 25 years, he was saying, that more complexity you have, more people, more elements to manage it you will need, because biomass, because of succession, because of all of those reasons. So I believe that we plant abundancy in order to rehab the landscape, because especially from the beginning, also from Paula, for us it was very important to prove to society that you can live with agriculture first, economically speaking, financially speaking, and second, that organic, simplifying to organic, not speaking even about agroecology or permaculture or syntropy and so on, but with organic food production, you can feed the world and do a good living as a farmer. So I think this was one of the main objectives. But then there are so many objectives stacking and interweaving one with the other.
But that's the macro.
Yeah.
And how is that journey going for you guys? You've been doing this for how many years, you said?
This is the 9th year. It has been an intense journey, because also in these 9 years, Paula already had her son, but then we had 2 kids, and then over maybe 200 people came to volunteer and internship and work here. And we are very open, so we sort of let people infecting ourselves. We don't protect a lot, so that's, psychologically speaking, is something that needs a lot of energy. And always looking between those people that were coming through to those people that could join permanently or for a longer time. And working with people, at least we were not trained to work in a collective system with shared economy, with shared decision making, and all of those elements which normally are very complex out there.
And so how have you been managing that? Because that's not something that it sounds like you were necessarily trained in or had examples to lead from. How did you put this together?
Formally and informally, I mean, I personally did I followed some courses on facilitation and group work and all of that, and also I've been teaching since a long time and working with people and knowing the psychological dynamics of the collective, of groups, sorry. I think it helps a lot, but still, I need to learn a lot. So I think I would say that in the last 2 years, we managed to consolidate an amazing group. It has been hard, it has been tough, but now we have people which trust each other, which are able to substitute each other. There is not really a leader, so still a lot. We need to do a lot, but I think we are all super happy to where we got. Even just sharing the economy and giving the value of a work hour, you being a consultant or a gardener or the teacher of the kindergarten, and like evening the importance of our work and presence at the same level, I think this is already a very good step to achieve. Because it doesn't mean that who does the most valuable work from economical point of view is the most important. Because there are, like Antonella, she has got the capacity of staying with also kids every single day. If she's sick, if the kids are this or that, and I would never manage to do that. I mean, I love to see them and to work with, to play with them, like for some times, but to stay every single day, you need to be super tough, super tough. And she doesn't earn the right amount of money because society is not ready, as for good food, is not ready to pay the right amount of money for the education of the future generations. But still, this is needed, because if she doesn't do it, who does it? We will have conventional education, which is producing what is, we well know, the generations that has been creating what we see now out there. So not everybody is evil. I did conventional education, and as many other people that are doing this, but still I think we need a bigger force of people that regenerate the land and society. And if you don't start from education, I think it's going to be very hard.
Well, it's a system designed to keep people trapped and enclosed. Yeah. So you mentioned earlier, that the economic viability is super important for you guys.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned, when I mentioned earlier off camera, I said syntropic agroforestry, and you were very quick to correct me. You said, that's not necessarily, I don't want to use that terminology. I want to give respect to the people who are properly doing that.
Yeah.
What does that mean for you? Because we're going to go see the systems very shortly, and we're going to explore, but I'm curious about whether from a decision-making point of view or whether it's the terminology.
Yeah. So, for different reasons, I went to a syntropic agriculture course, I think 9 years ago, with Ernst Gersch in Spain, and for me, from theoretical point of view, it was beautiful. And I'd love to have the time to set up a pure syntropic system. At the same time, I come from conventional agricultural education, and for me, straight production, especially because I work with farmers, which they don't have the cultural background that will allow them to accept the fact that they have to plant 10 times more trees, not non-productive trees, non-directly productive trees than they are used to. I think, again, for me, it's important to make a fast change on car. For me, it's extremely important, first, that every single person manifest his natural attitude. Because once you manifest your attitude, I don't know, you say vocation?
Your vocation?
Vocation, yeah. Then you're efficient, you're doing what you like, and you don't waste energy, money, and time. If you force yourself to do something that is not meant to be for you, then you will need more time to get used to it. And so I believe that I'm not a syntropist, and so I'm not efficient in doing that because I created an infrastructure that it doesn't allow me to do that. So for me it's more important, which doesn't mean that is more important for everybody. For me it's more important to find key solutions to reactivate the landscape on a minimum level on a broader scale, rather than having super specific, very well working and looking systems on a small scale that will be very difficultly replicable or scalable, because not really because of you can or you can't do it, but because culturally speaking there is not enough the substrate out there. Let's say, let's put it into syntropic terms. Out there, on most of the land, we are still, culturally speaking, on a pioneering level. So there is no substrate to grow something more complex. First, we can start with simpler agroforestry, maybe integrating animals on cereals and on bigger fields with rotations, and adding biofertilizers rather than chemical fertilizers, and you already have done huge work.
Well, and I like that analogy because it's exactly reflected in the fact that you even asked, how many syntropic sites have you seen across Italy? Well, there's a handful. There's like these very small pockets of like rich fertility, but across the landscape, accumulation, pioneering.
Yeah.
And so your focus is not how do we create more of these hyper-rich pockets of diversity, but how do we level up the entire landscape?
Yeah. At the same time, you will see the farm. We are pockets of abundance, very different from the rest, but mainly to experiment different systems. You will see the older orchard, which now is like a jungle. Yeah, we will remove that because we have learned a lot from that, but it's too complex. We want to simplify it in order to have economical practicalities, sorry, and from the other side also has to be manageable.
Yeah.
At the same time, has to be the minimum ecological elements in order to work from an ecological point of view. So I'm not looking to 0% disease, because I believe that diseases are part of the system and we need to co-evolve with diseases. At the same time, I don't want to have a too simplified system, which we very well know where it goes. So we have lots of complexity of different systems to show ourselves and to learn, and then to the people that come here, or when I go to a consultancy, I speak about a plant because I've been studying and sort of getting deep into the knowledge of how that plant works. How can you deal with that plant? Why is better that plant or another? Why you should prune it this way or the other? Which the elements, so ants and with the syntropic agriculture gave me a reinforcement on the power of pruning, on how to manage biomass in a more functional way somehow. But I was still coming from a background where there are many other people managing that same biomass for functional reasons. So it's another element. It's a beautiful element, it's a super complex element, but it's another element. I personally see now different syntropic systems growing here and there. I personally, from an aesthetical point of view, like more the silvopastoral system. I like more an open system, where then you have also elements of complexity, of more stratifications and so on. I value a lot the pasture. The pasture is a more evolved forest, okay, without lignin or with a small amount of lignin, but super valuable from ecological and productive point of view. And most of the time is not well known, the pasture. I mean, if you look at the pasture, maybe you get 35, 45 species in 1 square meter with all their different stratifications, with all their different functions in roots. It's super fast. If you have a fire, it will grow super fast. If you have drought, it gets yellow, but then first rain and it's green again. Is super efficient from carbon sequestration, water infiltration, and supporting life itself. So I believe that also the pasture is an important element of the agroforestry system, and often is undervalued. Is seen as something, of course, is biomass that you can use to mulch or this and that, but is not seen as the biodiversity engine that can help the system if managed properly. So yeah, I don't know what I said.
No, that's super interesting. I appreciate that perspective because it's uncommon to hear, you know, typically like agroforesters, and obviously you're coming from a multidisciplinary background, and so it's a different dynamic to speak with you and hear that perspective, and so I'm excited to keep diving into what that means. What it reminds me of is, and something that you're saying, the more I do this work, the more beautiful I find the systems that are just simplified, like not these overly complex, crazy, diverse, only the one person knows how to manage it. And that's how my farm is right now. So I'm like, all right, how do I like wind that back? But the more I see these different systems, especially here across Europe, in Golega, in Portugal, beautiful, super simple systems. Like fruit tree, emergent strata, understory for weed suppression, perfect. Like the more I see those systems, the more I'm inspired. And so I'm excited to be here, excited to see what you're working on. Shall we go take a walk?
Super. I just give you a brief idea of the context.
Perfect.
Is a 7-hectare farm, more or less, 70 meter in slope, in altitude, and is morenic soils. So that it means that the glaciers from Val Camonica, they have been pushing and releasing lots of different materials. Especially here we have a sandy soil. There is hardly no clay, or very little amount. You can see on that stone wall we have around 13 different minerals, so it's super complex from mineral point of view. We have super excesses of copper, zinc, manganese, and different magnesium and calcium in excess, and we have super low potassium, high pH. Is a complex soil. So when we started to grow vegetables, the vegetables were shit for the first couple of years, the first year, and then little by little, by adding organic matter and doing no-till and so on, they got to the right point, as well as like working with nutrition, biofertilizers and so on. We have a water spring. The water spring is 8.6 pH, just to give you an idea. High active lime, and so it's a complex system, but still, once you start to manage it properly, it can give very good results. So in the years we had super good production for certain crops.
And climate, in terms of temperature ranges, rainfall?
Yeah. In these past 10 years, there has been no similar years, no similar weather one year from the other. So we got from a 6-month drought 3 years ago, where all the forests there turned brown, okay? All the forests, it was just like, and the grass, it was like yellow, to double the amount of the rain we normally get. So for sure, we have less and less frosts. When we got here, we also had -7, -8. Last year, if we went below 0, it was a miracle. And these affect us a lot because there is a lot of abundance, there is moisture. We don't get much sun in the morning. I mean, it gets up quite late, so disease pressure is strong for different reasons. But one, from my point of view, the most important reasons is because we lack the frosts. So being rats, mice, or smaller insects and pathogens, you don't get that cleaning effect, which used to be normal in this context. So the ecological context itself is balancing again with the tropicalization of the climate. So we are seeing things that in 10 years, things are changing so fast. I mean, the old people here say, never seen so big changes. So yeah, climate-wise, it can get to 40 degrees, and from, let's say, -1 to 40 degrees. We have 4 seasons, so really we have the winter, we have the springtime, we have the summer and autumn, which are quite well, how to say, diverse and
Right, distinct.
Yeah, distinct. Sorry,
Yeah.
and but springtime is getting warmer, and autumn is getting warmer, and winter is getting warmer, and summer is getting warmer.
And so that might influence certain species that need certain chill hours. Now, what are some of the kind of traditional crops for this? Obviously, olives would be grown commercially, but the other things that people will typically have in an orchard or a backyard or a garden, what are the kind of typical tree crops anyways?
Here is olive, pasture, and grape. There used to be, for sure, some fruit trees, but there is very little diversity from agricultural point of view here. I mean, it's beautiful because you have pasture, and again, pasture and woodland is, for biodiversity, is the best. But from agricultural point of view, there is not much. There are not old varieties here. Yeah, you see here and there scattered some fruit trees, but not much, not much. Because the olive tree is an important crop, so probably people preferred in the past to have olive trees because before you could not grow them in the flatland. Now they're starting to grow. But here we have a sort of geographical certification for the olive oil, which is from Marrone, which is the area here, which gives a higher value to olive oil. So it's normal that people prefer something higher in value. But we have been experimenting with hundreds of varieties of fruit trees, and there are some trees which is good to grow here. So our idea was also to, okay, let's test all sorts of crops here. First for us to understand on what to base our economy. At the same time, if there are things that work, I mean, there are so many other farms that can do the same. Olive trees is fine, pasture is beautiful, but what about complexifying a little bit the system? When you don't have olives, maybe you have apples or other crops. So yeah, now when we go and check the farm, I can show you what is working. For sure, apples.
Apples.
Apples. Okay.
Let's go see some apples. System number 1 is the Mulberry Road. It actually goes up this really long driveway, and there's, I think he said 36 different varieties of mulberries. And it's a really great way of showing that simple systems can be just as beautiful and elegant as these hyper-complex, diverse systems. It's one of the patterns here that I really appreciate about Matteo, is his focus on simple systems. And so up along this road that gives you access to more of the agroforestry systems is this really beautiful tree line, this alley of mulberries, each with different varieties ripening throughout the season. And I think he said they're getting about 200 kilos per tree of mulberries. Mulberries are a really productive crop, and they're just really tolerant of poor conditions, multiple different climate types. He should definitely be growing mulberry trees. And one thing he's doing this year is he's started to plant palonia in between, which eventually will come up and become that emergent canopy layer above. And it just goes to show that you can have these really elegant systems. They don't need to be super complex to be really productive. And I like this idea that he shares about adding these things onto a farm makes it more livable. Instead of just a factory, it's a good place to live and exist and sit under the trees and eat fruit throughout the day. Really brings a different dynamic to being on a farm.
So here, every single tree is a different variety.
Of mulberry.
Yeah, of mulberry. Here and then we have another lot there. Fruit varieties, we have 35, but we planted in the last years, I think more than 1,000 mulberries as fodder for sheep and animals, because it's, I mean, here we also did some analysis of the nutritional value of the leaves, and it's just like one of the best leaves that you can get here. I mean, it reaches like 24% of protein, it's super edible. You give alfalfa, you give this, or you give pasture to the sheep, and they will go here. And you understand, animals, they are not stupid.
And so that's one of your small steps that you can apply more broadly rather than like these hyper complex systems of, no, alfalfa, mulberries for the sheep. Simple but effective.
Yeah, we have many other examples, but you know, I know that mulberry works well. It's not the only one. We also have palonia, which is super good for sheep. Yeah, we have been planting new this year. Now I'll show you also the new system. You see the new peaches and new,
Yeah.
because we started to plant the orchard where I wanted to have it originally, because what you will see lower down, the older orchard was planted super fast because, and this is important to speak about this, especially in Italy, but especially in Europe, the bureaucratic and norms infrastructure is crazy. It's crazy. So in order to start the farm and to get some fundings, we had to show that the farm was already working, even if it was a new farm, was already working from an economical point of view. So we had to plant super fast an orchard. We planted in the most comfortable place because we just arrived here and we wanted to be fast. But I already knew that I wanted to have the orchard, most of the orchards on the slopes. Because more airflow, because more light infiltration, because if I don't increase the value with the fruit tree to the slope, who pays me to cut the grass that it doesn't have much value, especially on the slope? So we trigger ourselves by putting trees on a place where nobody normally would put trees if there are flat spots. But again, these allow us also to open the narrative to all of those people that have slope land but that don't know how to make it functionally, economically functional and also manageable from one point of view. So it's a test. We already know how to manage, but we will also test all the details that come out once the trees are growing, producing, and so on. Every single one has got a different taste. Some are sweet, some are
Come see these.
acidic. I think this is the Wellington variety. No, it's the next one.
That's super sweet.
So basically the idea also with the people coming here is that this is a sort of museum of senses, because people are used to eat always the same things, and when they get here and they can try all sorts of diversity within the same species, also for them is like cultivating their capacity of embracing complexity rather than one apple or two apples and so on. When they come here, or also our customers, they are able to try diversity in the mouth with their senses. So it's like training people without telling them anything.
Yeah, they don't know they're being trained.
Yeah.
The second system right next door, just across the road from the Mulberries, is Hazelnut Hill. Basically, it's a slope that has hazelnuts planted in a diamond shape with, I think he said 4 meters between the hazelnuts. And over the last few years, he's just allowed the brambles, the blackberries, to kind of just go wild through the system because, well, it's providing benefit to the hazelnuts, it's creating more ecology, and you don't have to manage it so aggressively. Life takes you in another direction sometimes. You have to be able to neglect things. So when you can come through, mow down all the blackberries, and the hazelnuts are doing beautifully. They're thriving. And for the first few years, he had no irrigation, and now they're starting to become more productive. He's going to add in fertigation, which is basically a natural fertilizer with your irrigation to really encourage more production. Again, another beautiful, elegant system. We love those. And then he explains a really interesting trick that he did when he planted them to encourage the roots to go down rather than just staying shallow. So they're not dependent on irrigation.
So these trees, look, you still see some dry brambles, but here until 1.5 years ago, it was brambles like 3 meters. Also here, I started to recover this hazelnut
From
growth.
the blackberries.
Yeah, from the blackberries, because 4 years with the building site, plus consultancies, plus kids,
No
plus...
time to manage.
No, it's, you just say, okay, what are the priorities? I knew that mulberries would have loved to have some mulberries growing,
The blackberries.
blackberries growing on top of them. In fact, this winter I cut after a few years and they are beautiful. We still have them growing this way. Look at that.
Very nice.
These are all commercial varieties. Huh?
Yeah, are they?
They are not wild.
Nice.
And we tested 3 different varieties. You don't see it here, but it is planted on a diamond shape.
Yeah.
So to have more
How many
space
meters
efficiency.
between?
It's
Maybe 4?
4 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, beautiful hazelnut.
Yeah. And this is one of the slopes. What we will do from the next year, we also put irrigation. So the tree has been growing its own roots because it's a tree that has got quite shallow roots.
Yeah.
This, for example, we dug 1 meter deep small holes
Yeah.
at the beginning,
Okay.
and we filled it with rock dust and biochar and so on
nice.
to allow a tree that normally grows on the surface to force him to go deeper.
Yeah. Or just encourage anyways.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, come on, there's
Exactly.
stuff down
Look
there.
at that. There is oxygen, there are nutrients.
And now 4 years later, you're going to put irrigation on to support the production.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
To push with the fertigation and so on.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I could just eat mulberries all day long
I know.
until I'm like shitting purple.
My kids, they do the same. If you just think from culturally speaking, if it's cultural the right word, you're there under the sun, cutting the hay, no? And after a few hours, you start to feel like, I need some sugar, I need some energy. You just planted your supermarket very close to where you're working, and if you diffuse this in the whole farm, it changes the way you live the landscape.
It changes your relationship with the farm.
Yeah, it's not just work, it's living. Because if there is food, if there is beauty, if there is sense, then it's not just working. So the idea is also to move from farms as factories without roof to places where people like to live. Otherwise, we never will have enough people to repopulate. I mean, Europe lost, or Italy lost, since the 80s, I think, 3 million of farmers. Who's managing the land? Machinery? Big companies? But still, big companies will never manage this type of landscape. So it means it will be reforested, which is beautiful, but at the same time, from biodiversity point of view, cultural point of view, tourism, a forest is beautiful, but it's not the only element that you should have in the landscape. So I think it's important to increase the sexiness of agriculture in order to attract more kids.
I think you're doing a great job of that right here, planting these kid magnets.
Yeah.
Beautiful mulberry trees.
The next part of the interview will be all red.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Looks like you've murdered a mosquito. So the third system are these peaches, and these are the new peaches. There's another peach area further down the farm that's older, but this is the new peach area where he's planted things really intelligently. So peaches are a medium strata, and he's planted these 4 meters apart. Now he's gone through the trials already of testing multiple peach varieties at his other area, and so now he's just doubling down on the peaches that are working really well. What he's also done, he's gone and added the palonia every 4 meters between the peaches. And the varieties are done in blocks, they're not alternating, and so every 4 peaches, I think he said, they're alternating to a new variety to make easier management and harvesting. And hey, if you're doing this work and you want to connect with other people who are doing this in your neighborhood, we've got the free community, the Food Forest Family, which is where there's an interactive map. You can see who's where, you can connect with people who are probably in your same neighborhood doing this work that you don't even know about. So go check it out, Food Forest Family. The link is below. It's free. Come hang out.
So there, from the edge of the slope, we have alternated peaches, polonias.
I love how simple that is.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
So you didn't like subsoil, you didn't rip a line, you just like whole plant tree every 2.5 meters maybe.
2 meter.
2 meters, yep. Cool.
2 meter.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't rip
Grafted
because
trees?
they're
Yeah.
all grafted.
Nice.
There are 2 varieties is a selection of the best varieties
Of peaches.
that we tested
Nice.
down there in 9 years.
Makes sense.
From 14 varieties to 2 varieties.
Yeah. And are you alternating the varieties or are they blocked?
No, blocked.
Nice.
Because for harvest
Yeah.
reasons and so
course.
on,
Yeah.
that's what is needed. So I know what is needed by the peach now to grow well.
Mhm.
I mean, look at the growth already. We planted them like a couple of months ago.
Super happy.
So they're happy. For me, pasture is important. Everything that you see here, it was seeded because it was Mars here during the building, the planet Mars.
Yeah. Oh, Mars.
So we have been planting chicory, we have been planting alfalfa, we have been planting different plants in order to colonize the soil. And every time that you cut and the roots they work, then the peaches, they will use that space. So again, the alfalfa and the plants there, they are the sacrifice species which allow the regeneration of the soil. And if there are permanent roots of peaches, will use the space and the soil that is regenerated by the grassland. So animals play an incredible important role because they make economically viable the operation of cutting the grass. I don't believe that in cutting grass and mulching around the tree, we will change the world. I do believe that by cutting the grass and growing more food, growing more ecosystem services via animals and regenerating the soil via roots, okay, we can more probably scale it, because there are so many farmers that will tell you, yeah, but the time that I go there and cut that tree and flail mow it or chip it and sun, who's gonna pay that? Once society will be open to pay food for its real value, it will be possible. But it's a transition. Those people that can do that because they have economical background that allows them to do that, they have to do it because we need to test, we need to experiment, we need to research, we need to find the proper tuning for every single bioregion, for every single farm. But still, let's not leave all the other farmers alone.
So you're saying it's important the people who pay 80 cents for the egg versus the people who pay 35 cents for the egg. It's important for different reasons.
Yeah, and also the people which are testing on the landscape at different levels. So we often say, oh, you're not doing syntropic, oh, you're not doing holistic management, oh, you're not doing permaculture.
It's not regenerative because there's too many spaces between your trees.
Yeah, it's a bullshit. It's like everybody has to manifest his own attitude.
Yeah, I love that. I love seeing your expression of the landscape here. And the plan then is to have animals in between and underneath these trees.
No, because sheep, they eat.
They love to.
So we put, you'll see them down there. We put the electric fences in order to have a small strip of grass that will grow, will produce seeds, will release seeds in the environment. So this is our genetic bank that allows the system to evolve from a genetical point of view.
I want to make sure I'm getting that right. So you're going to put an electric fence on the tree line that just keeps these grasses, these perennial grasses, going to seed, spreading those seeds out into the area that previously was just annual seed is.
No, I mean, most of the things that we have here now is perennial.
Yeah.
But
with the sheep,
because with animals, you keep on cutting the grass or grazing before it goes to seed.
Right.
Yeah. You are missing the element of evolution needed to evolve genetics.
The seed bank comes from these edges.
Exactly.
Cool.
A small strip.
Cool. Love it.
It's a sort of mohawk.
Mohawk. Love it. Love it. Okay. So you will put sheep in between, but not on these lines.
Yes. Yeah. So here, for example, you have the net here, you have the net here, and we graze here.
Yeah. System number 4 are the steep plums. This is a really steep slope. It felt almost vertical. We were standing at the top of it, and he's got these plums planted down the slope. And the interesting thing he's doing here is he's actually opening them up a lot lower to the ground, right? So because it's a slope, it's tricky terrain, he's keeping these at a really easy height to manage and harvest from. And I think he said at the bottom of the slope, he'll be incorporating a bunch of emergent palonia trees or other emergents to help shelter the slope because it's a really hot, dry climate. It gets blasted with sun, especially in summer, but super interesting way of utilizing a really, what other people would consider marginal space and an incentive to manage it well because it's, otherwise what are you doing with a really steep slope? Here you can make it productive.
So at the moment we planted until there. There are grafted trees, okay, all the way up there. Also on the slope, we have the plums. And then here where the sticks are, again, this is diamond shape. We will plant the grafts, the rootstocks that then next year we will be grafting with the varieties that we know they work well.
So if you can't tell, this is really steep. We're looking down a very steep bank here.
Yeah.
And you're planting fruit trees. How do you plan to manage harvest on this steep slope?
As you can see, we started the main branches very low.
Yeah.
So we'll open them in super wide angle. We will not use animals here, but we will cut the grass with the side and putting it at the bottom and harvest it to make hay. I like to go to extreme systems because if you manage an extreme system, it means that you can scale it down. I do it because I'm a bit crazy and because that's what we want to do also in this farm, experimenting. But again, there are so many places which are much lower than these slopes that I know, like thousands and thousands of hectares, which are used in a bullshit way. So for me, it's important to have the use of the slope. I mean, you see now you don't really see because it was cut, but the vegetation that grows on the slope is completely different than when it grows here. Because you have exposure, is a crazy exposure, is nearly, you see, it's nearly vertical. So you get during summertime, the temperature there are crazy, which is what I want for our fruit trees. I didn't plant yet trees in between those plants, but because I have that line of paulonias that eventually will shield excess sun. But I'm gonna observe.
Because the hot afternoon sun is coming from over there,
Yeah.
and so it's blasting on this slope.
Exactly.
The palonia down there will shade things.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, and we'll manage that accordingly. Or if we see that they suffer too much, we'll be planting in between the trees more either polonias or other trees.
Yeah.
This year we planted 1,700 more trees in the farm in 13 different new agroforestry systems, and we are testing 85 new species of support species to see what is good to manage: bees, berries, animal fodder, medicines. I'll show you lower down. I have this system. It's a simple system, but with good spatial dynamics that we are going to test. If that works, based on what we see there, we'll be able also to diversify the use of Polonia, which it grows fast. In this soil, it's just perfect. It gives us fodder for the animals. It's too cool not to use it.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just like, but I don't want to be a Polonia farm.
Just the palonia, man.
Yeah. I very often say, you're telling everybody to plant Polonia. I say, never say to anybody to plant Polonia. When people come here, I say, don't plant Polonia. Test all the other species and Polonia. But you see, when you see something like this growing like in nothing, you will see down there. Maybe you can already see. Not from here. Let's go higher up.
Okay. So site number 5 are the Walnuts and Mulberry terraces. This is really beautiful. Again, a really elegant. You can see how he's doing things. He's doing things in a really elegant way where it's simple systems but really productive, easy to manage and incorporate the animals, which is a key focus for him, is incorporating animals. So he's got these terraces that have walnuts that are planted every 6 meters, and then between the walnuts, he's got these mulberries, which he's keeping really low, almost at hip height, so that he can use them for fodder. They're not meant to be productive fruiting mulberries. They're just fodder, which is fantastic for the animals. He's keeping them really low, easy to manage, and just using that space between the walnuts. And sometimes terraces are tricky because they're not always the exact same width. You don't always have the same amount of space. And so what he's doing to combat this is basically the planting pattern is in the shape of the 5 side of a die, and then 1 in the middle. And as the terraces increase or decrease in width, he's basically squeezing the die closer together while still maintaining that 6 meter distance between them.
Non-irrigated walnut growth from the next year.
It's super nice. So it's got mulberries at 4 meter spacings off the walnuts.
So
So alternating walnuts and mulberries.
Yeah, but these are Kokuzo variety. Kokuzo variety is one of the best as fodder for the animals because big leaves. Here there is no irrigation, but normally with irrigation it does like this. And we planted them actually last year. No, what was that? Some last year, some this year. Now under all the trees, every 80 centimeters, there is one mulberry bush. So I'll show you down how we manage them. You cut them just like a bush, and then you leave it to the animals.
Nice.
So there is this fast cycling of nutrients.
Yeah.
You provide protein, they shit, and the walnuts.
That's
get it.
amazing. Just, I think it was 3-4 days ago, I was on a call with my community online, and somebody was asking about a pear system retrofitted from monoculture of pears into this exact thing, where it's just high density of mulberries that you're coppicing on a cycle to feed to the animals.
Just like that.
Just like that, beautiful. Yeah. But here, instead of pears, walnuts.
Yeah. I will not copy it.
No.
But do low pollarding. Pollarding? Pollarding?
Coppice, how is it different for you?
Coppicing at the bottom and pollarding is higher up.
Okay.
I don't know.
I understand pollarding is like shoulders and above to keep it out of animal browse.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I never thought about it. Then it's coppicing.
Okay. Because
High coppicing.
high cup, like at the knees.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Knees, ankles, I don't know.
interesting.
Words. that-
I never thought about it.
But where are you thinking of cutting these, just so I'm understanding?
This height
At your hips.
has to be
Okay.
has to be easy
Beautiful.
with machinery,
Yeah.
with simple. So like this. You see it here.
we get a demo.
Where it was cut. You see it. Yeah. Just like
yeah.
this. There we go.
Yeah.
So eventually it will become as you will see
And
down
so the
there.
idea is that they can, because I think the idea for pollarding is that it keeps the new growth out of reach of browsing animals.
Yep.
The idea here is you'd want them to, or they don't even have access to this.
They don't have access.
Would
Nets.
you find it more convenient to give them access to this and then just pollard this up and then they can access, or no?
No, for multiple reasons.
I guess it's becoming a fence, and so it's
Yeah, but the problem is that the grass grows faster than the mulberry grows.
Yeah.
So when I have the animal coming back, he will be not ready to be grazed again.
yeah.
So I can graze this 6 times a year. I can graze this 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So you could sometimes do it. But I did it during wintertime, for example. I let the animals eating in between and eating, because once you cut this in July, you will have green leaves until December. Beautiful green leaves, because when you cut it in the summertime, the new regrowth, it allows the plants to have more sugars and more minerals. So it, for frosts and colds, is more resistant. And
So you would never give them full access to the fodder.
it doesn't happen very often. It can happen, but normally not.
Yeah, and I think that's my understanding of why pollards were so utilized
Yeah.
in places like England and Europe. It was to keep it so that they couldn't access the fresh vegetation, but
Yeah.
you'd still be cutting it 2, 3, maybe 4 times a year and
Yeah.
giving it.
Yeah, it becomes more. Season. It becomes more efficient from productive point of view to cut it rather than to have the animal grazing. Of course, it's a matter of scale or technology.
Yeah.
So here the pollarding was made normally higher, not really for animals, because Italy doesn't have a huge tradition of animals grazing.
Okay.
We nearly always had the animals in the stable.
Yeah.
Is more because below the trees you would have grape, below the tree, the grape you would have pasture or potatoes or crops.
Yeah.
So it was for a better utilization of the landscape.
Gotcha.
But it depends. Some areas, as you're saying, I totally agree. But for example, the festone is this traditional system of the north of Italy where you have your pollarded tree and then poles, horizontal poles in the sort of branches, locked in the branches of the pollarded tree, and then wires going from one to another, and then grape growing in it, and below it, growing anything that they needed to grow.
Yeah.
So-
Clever arrangement of like infrastructure with trees, and so something similar here, where it's not up here, but you're gonna keep cutting it at hip height, keeping it maintained with the electric fence.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. And the idea is then to have, how you say, not the chainsaw, but the machine to the brush.
like a hedge trimmer, brush
Hedge
cutter?
trimmer.
Hedge
Yeah.
trimmer.
Hedge
This
trimmer.
one.
Bravo.
Yeah.
See. Hedge trimmer. Boom.
Nice.
Finished.
Yeah. Cool.
And here we have 4 varieties of walnuts, 2 French and 2 Californian. So they have 2 different growth habits. Walnuts, it needs water when it's planted. We water it very, very little. So I'm sure that from the next year, once we will have the irrigation, they will just explode in production. We never like feed them. It's like shit soil here. It's really like here, you see it like this, but when we got here, there were like 4 species growing very small, because here we have 8.8% organic matter.
Currently.
But at the beginning.
Oh, that seems quite high.
It's high, but it's fossil. It's like turf. So not usable by the plants. And from down there, we had the canoe that sprayed animal sludge. and this activated the microbiology, and then little by little, then with grazing animals and interseeding before the animal pass, we got to this level.
Nice.
But you see a huge difference.
It's come a long way.
It's bit of work. So yeah, here there are different lines. Spatially speaking, is not a diamond shape because of the terraces. You can't always do whatever you want, because I wanted to have the corridors for the animals or for haymaking. Yeah. So this is the, I don't know how you call it in English, but it is the 5 of the dice. Yeah. But then based on the size of the terrace, it gets, you have one tree in the middle and then the other one, they stretch. Yeah. In order always to have at least 6 meters between one and the other tree.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. So simple, but it has been...
Between your target walnut. Number 6, one that actually didn't get filmed, but really similar, it's a pear terrace with a really similar planting layout, but instead the pears, which are an emergent species, are 4 meters apart, also planted in a diamond shape to maximize space efficiency. So system number 7 was a kiwi fruit trellis road. So you had this beautiful trellis set up along this road on the farm with the trellis having kiwi fruit over it. Really nice, double stacking the functions of an already existing access path and getting harvests. One thing he did is he tried to incorporate mulberry trees in between the trellises or in between the kiwi fruit, but he incorporated them too late. He didn't do it all at once. And so the mulberry trees and some of the other trees that he put in are kind of struggling to get through the canopy of the kiwi fruit, because ideally they're above the kiwi fruit canopy, and then the kiwis can grow in the tree. What he's planning to do now is actually incorporate, offset from that edge is another line of emergent palonia to help shelter the kiwi from hail, because it can be really damaging, and the palonia are really good at absorbing and managing that risk. And also just again providing really comfortable conditions for the kiwi fruit.
So
kiwi fruit,
we have
mulberries.
Kiwi, yeah. Kiwi and
more mulberries.
The idea was, that's a wild mulberry.
Oh yeah?
Yep. A bit different than the other ones.
Ooh. Bit fermenty.
Yeah, you should eat it like this.
Ah, okay.
This is his color.
Ah, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, the other one was like really
It's more soapy.
Yeah.
Like once you try the other ones,
Not so nice.
In fact, this I'm cutting and I give it to the animals.
Yeah.
The idea of trellises on the path is to give an economical sense to the path, to the accesses. So it's an access. There is more erosion. There is compaction. So I want to have something that protects from heavy rains, but I want to have protection. So it's simple. Here, I feel a bit shit because I should have been planting at the beginning. Emergent trees in between. We planted them late because kiwi needs it. We planted them late, but of course there was already a lot of shade.
So that's a poplar?
A poplar, yeah. But what we'll do is, I should have done it this year, but I didn't manage time-wise. I will make a new edge here, following, you see the kiwis there all the way down.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it's super long.
It's a long driveway.
So all the way we'll have another edge with emergent trees protecting the kiwis and maybe some bushes, productive stuff. Simple, finish.
More rows.
Yeah, for example.
System number 7 is a pomegranate edge or pomegranate boundary. Around the edge of this section of his farm, above the walnuts, letting them stay really shrubby. That's kind of their natural growth habit anyways. They're not like a apically dominant tree. Got this really dense edge of pomegranates. And then of course, he's incorporating multiple different types of emergents. He has a whole list of 45 different emergent species, super diverse, that he's just trialing and testing along the perimeter of the farm.
I didn't show you up actually. That was interesting. On the border, above the walnuts, we have been planting right on the border an edge with pomegranates. Every 4 meters, we'll keep them like bushy, and in between one pomegranate and the other, an emergent trees of 45 different species alternated between each other. Lots for bees, and also biomass and a bit of ecosystem.
What kind of species are you talking about?
I'll show you lower down.
Perfect. Yeah. System number 8 was really beautiful and it smelled amazing. One of these really simple but elegant systems where he had the Damask rose and the honey locust. Now the Damask rose smelled incredible. It was my first time ever having it. But it's a fantastic crop that he's getting good yields from, very low maintenance, and it's on a really marginal area on the farm. It's just an edge between two of the different sites, but it can be really productive, and it just goes to show how these edges can be utilized really intelligently. Now, I don't know how these honey locusts do in terms of timber production, but if you swapped it out for something maybe like a black locust, you can get really nice timber, like durable fence posts after maybe 10, 12 years of this system as the secondary yield after the roses. But again, really elegant system. That's the pattern here.
Interesting crops of the farm.
One of the most economically interesting crops
Yeah.
of the farm.
Smell this. It's older. So this is Rosa
Oh, wow.
Damascena. There are two similar ones. Is Damask rose. Smell this.
Oh, whoa, that's punchy.
That's amazing.
That's super nice. So
Super
what are you gonna make like essential oils with that?
So basically we sell them to restaurants which are either making syrup or fermented stuff or adding to different crops. And a bush like this is able to produce like 100 or 200 flowers, and we sell them for 50 cents a flower. So
Nice.
you see, like very often you think, maybe my farm, the edges of my farm can be the most economically rewarding ones. And now we planted with this honey locust
Nice,
that I've been selecting from Sicily. I got the seeds. We sowed the seeds because the pods were the right ones, full of sugars. So these pods are the best I've seen in the whole Italy.
Full of sugars, you said.
Yeah, you know that it's just like carob, but it really depends from genetics to genetics because it's a wild plant. It hasn't been selected. But we selected these specific plants, and we harvest lots of pods, and then we use them for animals.
Nice.
So cut them and give it to the animals, harvesting the pods, protecting the roses, and the roses in, what is that? A couple of meters of. So for me, edges are super important.
Yeah.
Because they can be extended into pasture system, into vegetable system. Just imagine this every 10 meters, and you become a rose producer. You have animal feed, you have sun protection, and you have your own crop, just like you.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Simple. It's nothing too fancy.
There's not a million species having to manage all the different.
Which is beautiful, huh?
System number 10 is cider apples and currants, berries, mixed with emergence. And so I think it was 3.5 meters. There's an apple tree, high strata for cider apples, and then in between those, at a relatively high density, we've got currants, these berries. And then the plan is to go and incorporate an emergent tree between each of these as well, with one of those 45 diverse emergent species that he's collected from the nurseries. And one thing he mentioned about this system is he wishes he planted all of it at once, because at the moment he planted the apples first, and then he's retroactively going to plant the currants and then the emergence. It's better if you just do it all at once.
Here is, we planted this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
These are mainly apple cider varieties.
Nice.
So we planted then this year some berries in between, and I will be planting in the middle of every tree one of the 45 species that we have been testing as emergent.
Yeah.
Because I want to check. So you'll see down apple and honey locust, perfect consortium.
Yeah.
As an emergent. But I want to check also other ones, because I don't want that all apple growers in the world will use the same species. So I want to tell them, you can grow this, and this. This has got this function, this, and that. And so people can choose.
Is there a reason you wouldn't pair palonia?
So palonia has got
Big, broad leaves.
too big.
Yeah, okay.
So
Easy.
it needs 50% shade maximum.
It's interesting because palonia, would you classify it as emergent? Because it doesn't have the typical emergent leaves. Typically emergent leaves are very small. They produce a very specific kind of shade, the kind of shade that apples want. But then you have a palonia above, not the emergent leaf shape, not the same kind of emergent shade that the apples want. So would you say palonia is like a high species? Is that?
It depends how you manage it. You'll see we have an apple orchard under the palonia.
Well, but not in terms of like management, but like its preference for a sun.
You have to manage it more. So Gleditsia, if you don't prune it too much.
Gleditsia?
Gleditsia is a honey locust, is the Latin name.
Yeah.
Honey locust, if you don't prune it, still the apple, you say, okay, is a good type of shade, what you're doing, as you are saying. Polonia, if you don't prune it, fucking it just become like, you'll see it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's crazy.
In between the apples, every 4 meters, you've got the currants.
Currants is
Yeah.
every 50 centimeters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the apples are at maybe 4 or 5 meters.
6 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And in between, one emergent tree.
Yeah.
So we'll have an edge of berries that
Yeah.
will last until the apples grow.
Yeah.
Because these apples are on a M111 rootstock.
Yeah.
So they will grow big.
Yeah. Cool.
And then in between, animals.
Yeah. Awesome. System number 11, he's doing this subtropical and Mediterranean greenhouse, where in the corners at the moment, he's trialing more subtropical species that wouldn't work outdoors in this climate, things like avocados and citrus, and then through the rest of the greenhouse, a whole succession of diverse vegetables, still stacking the strata, silver beet, tomatoes, whatever he can fit. And the plan is to trial and see what trees work well in the greenhouse and potentially just create a fully subtropical, perennial, tree-based greenhouse system.
We're testing here citruses and avocados.
Inside the corners of the greenhouse.
Yeah, so every corner is a different species and also avocado. So we know that all of them can grow without frost damage and so on.
Yeah, nice.
So if we move the gardens to the new field, this will become the subtropical or Mediterranean greenhouse with avocados, ginger, turmeric, citruses,
Cool.
and all of those things.
Cool.
Because if you do just one line of avocados in the middle, I think you can get out lots of avocados.
Oh yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you grow avocados?
Yeah, easy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
You can see stratification in the crop, so we never let the ground without either cover crop or spontaneous plants or crops. With the vertical crops, we always try to have a lower strata in order to use the space properly, but mostly to always have roots in the soil.
Yeah.
Also when you do annual crops. I mean, vegetable production, it can be super unsustainable, even organic vegetable production, because it's like, it requires lots of energy, lots of resources, lots of soil uncovered, conventionally speaking. So yeah, I think for the soil that we have, we got to a very good point. We went from 3.5% to 7% organic matter in a few years. We can see many less diseases, we can see more production, we can see better taste in the fruit. There's still a lot to do, but I think we already achieved a good commercial, how to say?
Yeah, production.
Production, yeah.
And you can see here it's the tomatoes on either side. Then you have the, what do you call this? The rainbow silver beet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always we have some crops growing through a lower strata. And then very often, if we don't have any crops going later, before flail mowing, we just sow some seeds, we flail mower. We never till the soil, so we just manage the biomass. And then what we use is, if we need, recycled paper as a mulch, and then wood chips that we produce in the farm. So it's a simple system, but we got there with complex observations and so on.
And these are things that are going both to restaurants and to the CSA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, and to the small market at the beginning, at the entrance, where we place produce and people just grab it and leave the money and go. Yeah. So yeah, that's. And
so I can assume that some of the pizzas that I've been eating a lot of pizza here. I've been eating like 2 pizzas a day. It's amazing. Ooh. I can assume that some of the tomatoes on the pizzas are coming from here.
No, pizzeria not yet.
Ah, okay.
Not yet.
We'll get there.
They tend to buy.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Okay. Very high quality tomatoes.
Yeah, thank you. System number 12 was really interesting. It's the most beautiful system where he's got apples and palonia, and in between he's doing vegetables or animals. And then underneath the apples, which are a high strata, he's got this really nice layer of comfrey. And again, in the middle you have space for vegetables or grazing your animals. And I think he even mentioned the possibility of incorporating another row of apples in the middle. And I know I'm repeating myself, but again, another example of just a really beautiful, elegant system that can scale. It's not so different from the traditional agriculture. Just adding a few things can create a lot of benefit with a lot less of the friction that comes with these hyper crazy, complex, diverse systems. And I think he said that at year 2, this system, which is 5 different rows at 20 meters, so we've got 5 rows times 20 meters, produced about 700 kg of apples in the second year. And getting €3 per kg of apple, you can work the math out, but already at year 2, that's, I think, 2 and a bit thousand euros from this system. Focused on apples, the palonia can be used as fodder, mulch, animal integration, or vegetables. Really elegant system. And just aesthetically beautiful. These long lines, beautiful trees. Hopefully you're as inspired by it as I am. I gotta plant more palonia.
We'll
Okay.
get there, we'll get there.
Okay, so what are we looking at now? I see these big, beautiful palonia. You planted these 8, 9 years ago? 6 years ago?
6.
6 years ago. We've got the apple trees below them on the trellises, which is super fascinating. Mulberry at the end here. And then in between, we've got not vegetables.
Well, normally it's vegetables. Now we have been flail mowing. You can see in the path, we have been flail mowing a winter cover crop. Before that, because we didn't need the space yet, we have been sowing also some brassicas and other things which are growing.
The nettle.
Chicory, nettle.
Yeah, it just comes up. Yeah.
It grows. Yeah. And many. I love the spontaneous plants because they recover the soil, and they allow the soil regenerating on what it needs to be regenerated, rather than forcing the soil with cover crops that never asked about. So I like to integrate cover crops rather than imposing cover crops.
Is this with the direct seeder or are you just broadcasting?
No, I broadcast and then flail mower. We have, I didn't show you, we have a flail mower with wheels that drive just on the path, so we don't compact the soil. Cool. It's a super cool flail mower. It does a beautiful job. Actually, we can decide the height, so we can either tilt in the seed in the first centimeter, otherwise leave it like this. But you've seen, it's growing stuff all over. There is some sorghum growing as well.
Nice.
So there are different things that little by little will grow. There are some crops which will come up eventually. This was sown not long time ago. So.
And so then what's behind us is we have these 6-year-old palonia, which are beautiful.
Yeah, 2 years old apples.
2 years. Okay, so it was at start just palonia.
No, at start was comfrey, alternated with vetiver.
Okay.
That's because we wanted to create terracing.
Yeah.
To stop erosion and to go, because we have a sandy soil, nutrients easily go down. We irrigate quite a bit here because of vegetables. So we needed to have every 7.5 a line of plants with deep root systems, two different, like one super hairy, the other one fat, to get the nutrients from below and to be used either for biofertilizers or animals or biomass and whatever. Then the soil was regenerated so well and it was so beautiful.
With the vetiver and the comfrey.
Yeah, exactly. The comfrey, we lost most of it. Now you really not see it because now there is also quite a bit of shade. But we lost it during a winter drought because it's a tropical plant that needs water, lots of water, even when it's dormant. And so we had like 5 months of drought during winter and most of it died. Otherwise here, I can show you pictures. We had beautiful edges of vetiver with comfrey coming from down.
Yeah, wow.
It's okay, evolution. Then we say, there is too much sun. We normally have 2-3 hail events per year, so we need protection.
Yeah.
And then I say, what's the fastest growing tree that also can provide me with some services or production? Polonia. And I show you now what the sheep do with Polonia. And then, you have protection. You have beautiful soil. Why not use the space in between? And then we plant the apples. So.
And they're doing quite well in here, or you're having to manage the Polonia quite a lot?
Even if I don't manage the Palonia quite a lot, they still do well.
I mean, what does that mean? Maybe 2 years pruning?
I should do.
Sorry, twice a year?
I show you, there are 2 lines below that I've been pruning.
Yeah.
And that's what I should do.
Okay.
So here I'm late with the management.
So this canopy is a bit too much. But it's beautiful.
They grow.
But they're happy. But
vegetables, you see that is a little bit too much.
Yeah. Are you doing any root pruning of the Polonia so that they don't send the roots into the vegetables?
We did the first years, but then knowing that we would have gone to move vegetables away, say, fuck it, I don't care. It's okay to have the roots here. Yeah. And eventually when we'll move the vegetables, here we'll place another line of apples in between, in the middle. And then here we'll have animals, chickens and so on. So this is an important point because this was an experiment that I really wanted to do because this could be really scalable. And you would change landscape this way just by using comfrey paulownias and apples. Just imagine all the thousands of hectares of apples on those monocultures are just completely fucked up. And so this has been working very well because this is their third year. On their second year, they already produce more than 700 kilos small trees. And this year, I think we will double or even more.
700 kilos from one small tree, or from,
no,
from a whole line?
From all these lines. It's
Okay.
like 5 lines,
Okay.
50-meter long.
5 lines,
Yeah.
50 meters long, at year 2, 700 kilos.
Exactly. This is M9.
M9.
Yeah. So
Cool.
first year I removed all the apples.
Yeah.
Second year I removed half of the apples. This year I still have to remove some apples, but we will have at least double the amount, and then it will increase a lot. And just as we are selling this for €3 a kilo, already these lines, I should make the calculation again, but already these lines, they make lots of money and not using any space or very little space. We wanted to have them a little bit more spaced than commercial.
Because this is
system.
1.5?
This is 1.5, yeah.
Yeah.
Normally, commercials, they get to 60, okay?
Yeah.
But you know, then the management. So we don't really treat them. It's just like, a crop that you prune, you harvest. If you want, you can treat it a couple of times. And then it's got fertile irrigation. And the protection of the palonia is beautiful because you see during summertime the health of the leaves. I mean, this has been a quite tough springtime with lots of rain, and it was still beautiful. And during summertime, you will see the trees that are outside from the polonias. You will see the leaves how degraded they
suffer.
are. They suffer.
Yeah.
And these are super fine. And also, when the first frosts come, they don't shed the leaves. They keep them for 1 month later, because the paulownias, being that they have lots of sugars,
In autumn, they keep things protected.
crazy. It's just like they lose the leaves here now in January. But the other important thing is that I started this system with thinking, okay, silvopasture system, vase, fruit trees with the vase shape. But then I realized it's not really compatible. Because either you have small animals, but then to put the nets, you have to increase the height of the vase. But once you increase the height, it's more difficult to harvest. And so I want to test this because just imagine to have silvopastoral systems like this. We have your cows, you have your chickens, you have your rabbits, you have whatever you want to raise, and then you have your apples. But apples that will never grow inside the system. So you keep the two systems separated. The animals, because you put the nets or the wire, they will not go there and eat them. Actually, what you can do, you can maybe make them more espalier if you don't want to use too much space, 3D space.
Yeah.
But I think this has got huge potential.
System number 13 was a little bit more complex than the previous one. We've got a diversity of different fruits, berries, and then animal integration. Now at the moment, this system has 3 main layers: the emergent palonia, the fruit trees, and the berries. But initially it was planted with vegetables along the edges, and then the berries took over that place. And so they're incorporating lots of animals in here, they're cutting trees for fodder, and this system had elderberry, which I'm a big fan of. And so I like to see elderberries incorporated into systems like this. And in part of this system they had apricots planted, but they weren't doing very well. And so what they did was they cut them below the graft, and then now all the new suckers are coming up from the rootstock, which would have been some kind of wild plum rootstock. And so they're letting those just grow freely. And because they're not always really nice fruit, what they're doing is they're basically just pruning the lower branches as they get old and sagging down. They're really heavy, loaded with fruit, and giving those to the animals, and then turning the wood into wood chips for the mushroom side of the business. And this is one of his earlier systems that he planted when they first started. It's a little bit too diverse and a little bit too crazy, so this is actually an area that he's going to fully sacrifice, reset, and then replant with a smarter, more elegant design. And if you want help with your project in particular, you want me to look at your design, give you suggestions, recommendations, be there to support you, go check out the website, foodforestry.com, and I'll see you there. Ooh, I like this. I'm excited to see an elderberry system with just like elderberries through all of it. Yeah, through all of it.
I show you how we use it. It's for the animals, yeah. There are sheep grazing here. So this is a sort of unmanaged system. And this is the system that I want to remove because we learned from here.
Okay.
And I want to practice more in this way. Still productive. It's beautiful. There are birds. There are nesting, but we don't have much space in this farm. So sacrifice sacrificing. Yeah,
Sacrifice.
sacrificing.
Yep.
Yeah, space for a system that it was meant to be for educational purpose. For me, is yeah, a way. I mean, nature always does that, right?
Well,
can
no
regrow.
doubt it's increased the health, the biology. It's gone through an accumulation phase.
Yeah.
Even better foundation for what's next.
Put next.
Cool. So what are we looking at here that then you're going to transition towards?
So basically, we started here with the fruit trees and vegetables on the fruit tree lines. This is on a key line pattern.
Yeah.
And then from the vegetables, we put berries. You still can see here. I mean, now we have to remove the grass, but it's full of gooseberries.
Ah, the gooseberries.
Every meter.
You know, I haven't actually eaten one of these before. Are these ready?
Try now. I think it's not yet, but try. It's I think it's still super sour.
Super sour. Yeah, that one's going to be super sour.
Actually, it is. But already aromatic. Not ready. 2 weeks. Lemon.
Lemon, but the flavor's there.
It's gonna get there. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love them.
So that was initially vegetables, berries, fruit trees,
Yeah.
and palonia.
No, polonia. 2 years later, I planted them. I wanted to plant them very close to see the extremes.
Ah, these two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll see there most of the time there are 2 of them. Yeah. In order to see if you prune one year and the other one gets fat, and then next year you don't prune the other one and you prune that one. So
Okay.
I always alternate them in order to understand their dynamics. Also because I wanted to see how close they can grow, and it's interesting because this is quite close.
Yeah.
I think 2 meters is already good.
Well, that's what you've been doing at the next areas.
No, there is 4 meters between one polonia and the other.
Yeah, 2 meters between the polonia and the fruit tree.
Oh yeah, the fruit tree can be very close. Actually, for me, something also I told to Felipe that I think it would be very good, especially for those crops that need really lots of protection, is that you plant the polonia or the emergent tree and the fruit tree together.
Yeah.
And you grow a vase
around the center of
the tree, which is in Italian we call it retarded vase. It's basically retarded because it's,
I'm going to steal that term for sure.
Is a technical term. Yeah. It's retarded vase because you get the emergent branch of the fruit tree, which allows the other branches to grow open. And then on the 3rd year, you cut it and you have a vase without using ropes or weights or sticks in order to open the branches.
Because the emergent will occupy that space, and so the fruit tree wants to navigate around it anyways. Gotcha. Exactly. Cool. Love it.
So that's is used commercially.
Yeah.
Because you can't go on every single tree of thousands of trees and open them.
Well, but the difference with the commercial is that they're just leaving that middle as the fruit tree and not using an emergent. But you're saying replace that with an emergent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Then you still have your protection and so on.
And so you're saying the polonia can't really be too close. You're saying the distance between the polonias, 2 meters, is good.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Because you could put the polonia right.
Those ones are 3 meters.
Yeah. Okay.
You can do 1 meter less if you really want to be extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah. But already like this, I think is quite good.
And you could put the polonia in the center of this plum tree. Be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we planted this again as a test because I value animals a lot. So you see the new shoots and you see where they come from, as I told you before.
Yeah.
So what we do here is just like this. Mind your hands. I don't have the electric cutter.
Yeah.
I call the sheep meanwhile. Bah! Bah! When they hear this already, they know some mulberries. So basically here is elderberries, mulberries. We planted willows, but with the drought 3 years ago, they're gone.
Yeah.
So we could have planted also many other species. Now we tested more bush. So again, this for a silvopastoral system, it becomes the integration of protein, medicines, minerals for the animals.
Yeah.
You mechanize it. I'm coming. Arrivo. Bah! And you can really produce lots of biomass.
Yeah.
Lots. And the good thing that if you stay behind the production, you get a super good effect from the pruning, of course, and the roots and so on for the fruit trees. Oh, look at this.
Oh, the white currants.
They're not ready. Maybe just the biggest ones.
Yeah, nice.
You want to try?
Look at
I
that.
think they will be still sourish.
White currants.
I think that must be
Ooh.
here waiting.
Sour but sweet.
Yeah, they're coming. Not ready yet.
Yeah.
So maybe I also cut some polonias for them. See.
Yeah, when you keep it well managed regularly, it's super soft and easy to use
Yeah,
to get them down.
100%.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have to use the ladder.
Yeah.
And with the bigger stuff.
Yeah, I didn't realize they liked palonia. I didn't realize it was a good fodder species.
It was the best.
Yeah.
Together with the mulberry and polonia.
Yeah.
They nearly make a perfect fodder because it's the C4 plant, lots of sugars.
Yeah.
But
Palonia C4.
Is C4.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's the only C4.
Are you serious? The only C4 tree?
Only C4 tree in that we can grow at our latitude.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there are tropical C4 trees.
That's fascinating. I didn't realize that Palonia was C4.
Oh yeah. That's
so
why
funny.
it's so fast to grow. First thing that they eat, Polonia. This is an interesting for those ones that raises animals to verticalize the pasture is such a huge opportunity. Yeah. When we had 3 years ago the drought, the only thing that we were giving to animals were trees.
Yeah.
No grass was growing. It was completely yellow. So all the farmers up here, they reduced by 50% the animals.
Yeah.
Animals that have been selecting genetically for generations. So it was just like, because we had the war starting in Ukraine, so no feed, no fertilizer, no hay was coming anymore from there. So the cost of energy increased. We had a drought here, and people didn't have money, or there was nothing to buy. Yeah. So so many farms that had to cut by 50% the animals. So that was a bit tough.
And so resilience is in the trees.
Yeah.
Like you were feeding the trees when the no grass was.
Lots of work, but if you mechanize it, you survive at least.
Yeah.
And it was the year that they had the least amount of problems with parasites.
Yeah.
Because the parasites, they are in the pasture, but not in the trees.
Obviously you knew that. You've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
But then the feedback of like, oh well, when shit starts hitting the fan, when resources get cut off, when you don't have access.
It's not just hippie stuff. So we used to have apricots here. I knew already that it was going to be a problem because apricots is very difficult to grow here in north of Italy, in most of the places, because of moisture. Springtime is too wet. The Monilla disease enters the flower and they fucked up the production and also the branches, and then it goes lower now. So we cut the trees, we let the roots start growing. So now we have wild plums. Every single tree is a different variety. Yeah. We just make candy bags for kids or for the restaurants, which use it as a substitute for umeboshi, and also they ferment it and they do all sorts of things with that. So we get out much more value from this because it's easy. And what we do here, the management here is basically until the tree branch bends, we keep it. Once it's too stiff, rigid, we cut it at the bottom. We give it to the sheep because it's a coppice. And is continuously growing new branches.
And so it's a way of keeping it not from going stagnant, love it.
So you give to the animals, and then it's a beautiful wood for mushrooms.
Yeah.
You make wood chips, you make mushrooms.
Yeah.
If we had rabbits, I would harvest the fruits, cut the trunk, give it to the sheep, eat the leaves, rabbits, eat the bark, mushrooms. It's like a tree that you didn't really treat to anything, but it enters in the system very.
And it's just a wild plum with all these different opportunities to add a harvest on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every tree, the beautiful thing, every tree is a different texture, different color, different taste. Yeah. It's just like, again, like the mulberries is a museum of tastes and colors. So
because the apricots weren't diverse, the disease pressure, and just cut them down and let the rootstock go.
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly. Here now is a little bit overgrown. We have Josta, which I don't know this year why is not producing. I want to check under the grape. Let me check the next one. Interesting. Oh, much less production this year, but yeah, there are still. No, there is more. Last year they produced a lot. This is Jostaberry, you know, is a hybrid between black currant and gooseberry.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, it's super aromatic. It becomes black, and restaurants love it to cook with fish, meat, and so on. It's amazing crop, and it grows big when. Now we keep on cutting, putting in sun, but it grows massive and super fast.
Nice.
Second year enters in production.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So a great crop for this area.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, we are in a tourist area, so we have lots of restaurants, and also that's important when you choose the crops.
Yeah, of course. System number 14 is actually in that Palonia, an apple system, but this is where they're doing university research. And in between, they're actually testing these different vegetable plots with different treatments. And so in this area, they're really testing to see if copper use can be reduced with these more regenerative practices, using different things also like trichoderma. So it's really interesting research that they're being paid to do by the university. This is a really beautiful example of what can happen on these regenerative farms, testing to see if we can raise the bar for everyone.
Yeah, so it's basically a research that we are doing in collaboration with the University of Brescia. It's gonna last for a couple of years. So we are paid to do this. The objective of the research is to reduce copper use on commercial produce. I mean, we don't use copper here, but we are spraying on certain plots to see the difference in first, plant disease resistance and suppression. Second, nutrient density of the final product. Increase in anti-inflammatory compounds in the end product, and different things. Also, the microbiology will have so many things tested here. Plots with trichoderma and copper, some just with copper, some with compost, some without compost. So it's complex. Yeah. It's 8 different type of plots multiplied by 3. So this is the first year, and we'll have a second year next time. So this for me is super important. It's like economical diversification has to occur until the consumers will not understand what's the real value of food. Because I can't work day and night in order to deliver a produce that has got the price that the consumer is expecting to have and do a shit life. So it's important for farmers. I don't think farmer is a good word. I think is stewards of the land. But when you are a steward of the land, you're taking care of so many different aspects. It's not just about agriculture. It's not just about society. It's not just about building tools. It's not just about architecture. It's about everything. So it's not like, I am a farmer and I have to produce. No, you have to produce something good for yourself and for the society and for the ecosystems. What's the best thing you can do? Well, you choose it.
I think Giuseppe I was having a conversation with maybe him or somebody else recently here in Italy, and he was saying that word farmer didn't used to mean that's your occupation, that's your career, that's how you make money. It used to just mean you live out in the country. So you have to do X, Y, Z things. This is how you maintain land, steward land. Yeah. And now it's turned into a job. Now it's turned into that's your career. That's how you earn money. That's your role. And it's not something that, if you're not a farmer, like why would I be connected with the land? I live in the city. I do my job.
Yeah, totally. I mean, in Italian, maybe for sure they told you we have 2 words. We have contadino and we have agricoltore.
Yes.
Agricoltore is the farmer. Contadino is more.
That was the word. Contadino.
Yeah. Which is also nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally. I think it's very important the philosophical part. Otherwise, we do things without really knowing what is the real objective of things. I mean, nature doesn't need us. For nature, this is bullshit. This is not efficient. For nature, something else is efficient. Yeah. So if we want to do something for nature, then let's stop to do anything. Let's not eat, or just let's eat things that fall on the ground from nature. But I think it would be very difficult to survive on that. So it's for us. I mean, so many times nature went through massive extinction, and from the massive extinction, it became better and blooming more and more into more relations and more species and more functional beauty. Yeah. We have to realize we are not doing this for nature.
Yeah.
nature love us as loves any other elements of this.
And it's also just as like nonchalant about us as anything else it loses.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, humans go, whatever. Little,
okay, something new.
it's the George. Have you George Carlin? You know him? He's an old comedian from America, and he has this whole bit about how the Earth doesn't care about us. It'll just like shake us off like a bad set of fleas. All it wants us for is plastic, because it didn't know how to make plastic. It had all the ingredients, but it didn't know how to make plastic. And so our job here is to just make plastic and put it everywhere. And once it's done with us, then it's gone. But we're not. But when people say like, we're gonna destroy the planet, we're gonna destroy the planet, it's like it's been surviving floods, volcanoes, asteroids, earthquakes, tectonic plates, floods, droughts, fires, and we think a little bit of plastic. It's kind of, so it's this whole idea that
Yeah. It doesn't have to justify bad behaviors.
of course
At the same time, it's like feeling too much heroes when we do what we should do. I think again it becomes something that it doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, and I think the point, like a lot of the point there is a lot of people are attracted to this work because this feeling of like, I want to make a difference.
Yeah.
I want to do something good for the planet. And I think what you said earlier is like, it's more or less, and somebody else said this that I was speaking with recently too, is they said it's a selfish pursuit. It's like, I just want fruit. I like eating good food that I know where it's coming from. I want my environment. I want to have shade for my environment. I want it to be nice and cool and not too windy, good producing. I want to have a good livelihood. I want to do things in a way that feels responsible and aligned with my ethics. But it's not this altruistic thing of like, I'm going to save the planet. Because the planet's going to be fine. Planet's going to be fine.
Planet's gonna be fine.
Love what you're doing here, man. This is beautiful. So the trials are happening here.
Yep.
Another year.
There you see, I mean, you know very well them, but here is very strange to see them. I think we are the only eucalyptus growers in the north of Italy.
There's one down there. Yeah.
Two, like the big ones, I've been sowing them by seed.
Have you?
So yeah, we selected out of the 750 species, I think, of eucalyptus.
Should we go look?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
We also have done that, but that one is bigger. Since I've been spending quite a bit of time in Australia with David Holmgreen, Darren Doherty, and many eucalyptus lover.
Yeah.
And being European and growing with the cultural limit of thinking that eucalyptus is evil.
Yes.
I wanted to test it here on our place. I've seen what eucalyptus mature forest means in Australia, and it's beautiful. And I want that people realize that it's not a bad tree. So I've been selecting the 5 more cold resistant, most resistant species. And it turned out that the Gunni and the Viminalis.
Yes, both of those I love.
Yeah, but these guys little by little, look at that. I mean, you know them better than me, but you also have a climate that pushes quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
we get maybe 1.5, 2 meters of rain per year. What do you guys get here?
Between 800
Yeah.
and 1,200.
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah, but still, phenomenal growth. Yeah. And so what, with the organic material in the middle here, you guys aren't chipping the palonia, you're not chipping the eucalyptus to apply them for the veggies. Where is this organic matter? Is that just an input from? Yeah.
From the farm, prunings and so on.
Yeah.
From the forest, coppicing forest, and then from gardeners.
Yeah.
Around. But we did our calculation, and now we would be able to use just our own material and being self-sufficient for biomass.
And so the value here for the eucalyptus, not the eucalyptus alone, but for the palonia as well as servicing the apples, it's providing more moderated condition for the vegetables, for the tomatoes,
And fodder, a huge amount of fodder for the animals, the sheep.
Yeah.
This for me is super important.
Yeah.
If it was another crop, good. No, but the climate moderation, especially during summertime, is beautiful. You work, you do vegetables here where we don't have trees, you don't during certain hours of the day.
Yeah.
So you create the conditions to be optimal to stay here.
I mean, even on the camera, you can see like the dappled light is perfect across the whole vegetable production.
Yeah. So you see here, okay, these have been pruning lately. I should prune maybe a little bit more those ones. So this is now, okay, a good amount.
Yeah.
There you see a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So next week probably I'll go and start to and continue.
Are you training other people to do this work?
Not yet. Not yet, because we have the gardeners. We have
Everyone has their role. Yeah.
yeah.
You're
but
still tree pruner.
Is a simple job.
Yeah.
Is
I'm sure you enjoy it. It's fun.
I love it.
Rewarding. Yeah. See, that's why he doesn't want to give it up.
I have some beautiful picture me climbing up there.
That's what I saw. I saw that photo.
Okay,
And I was like, I gotta go there.
I was up there very happy.
Yeah.
And I love palm trees.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get to a sort of palm tree
To
shape.
recreate your
Yeah,
palm
I
trees
love
that you can't
the
have.
palm from ecosystem point of view. Can you grow palms there?
Some
Yeah.
palms, yeah.
Okay.
Like queen palms and no coconuts, no pupunia, but
Okay.
yeah.
It's too cold.
It's yeah. System number 15 is actually with the chickens. You can see how bad I draw chickens. There we go. That's not too bad. Where's another one? Yeah, it's not too bad. That's a chicken. And the interesting thing about this is, which is pretty unusual, he's actually incorporating the chickens into the tree lines. And so when he's using the electric netting, they're actually incorporating the chickens into the tree lines, which is not something you see super often. Obviously, he waited a few years to let the trees establish, but he explains a really cool piece about how the chickens are such a great pest remover. And he explained how they actually are doing that service at the collar, right? They're a jungle bird, they're from the forest, and they want to maintain a forest. They don't want to just rip the forest down. And so it's a really thought-provoking way of managing chickens with an agroforestry system where traditionally people are really afraid, anyways, I am at least, to incorporate chickens into a tree line because of how destructive on the surface it appears they can be. And so maybe it's just about timing and better management, but I really liked this system with the chickens that come after the sheep.
We build chicken tractors for other farmers, but we have the shittiest one. Oh, this is the Josta. Then I tell you about this system. I don't let you in because there is the cockroach
Yeah, that's okay.
He's a motherfucker.
Yeah, he is. He has to do a good job and protect his girls.
Yeah. He's the guy. So basically what they're doing now, they're trampling all the grass you can see in between the trees. So it will allow us, now you see all the Josta berries. Okay, so they're cleaning, and then once they trample everything, we move them. You see it's quite messy, but then we can go and check on the other side. They're doing a perfect job. So chickens for me is a fantastic element to manage overgrowth on the tree lines when it needs to be trampled down.
Yeah.
You're
putting them through the tree lines even.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing that's you don't see it super often with syntropic systems incorporating animals or chickens, especially in the tree lines, because usually if you do, it's any seedlings that are coming up squished, but you're using it to kind of reduce the spontaneous growth, like bring the grasses down that are maybe going to oxidize, put it in contact with the soil.
Yeah.
Was there a stage where you wanted to exclude chickens from this area, like when it was establishing, or
beginning?
Yeah. And what did that system? How long did that last? Was it just a matter of getting the trees big enough?
Yeah, because they would damage maybe the young plants, as you're saying. So once the plants are grown, we use them. I mean, they add so many nutrients to the system. And what I always look at an element, being a plant or animal or whatever. What are the functions of these elements in nature? Where is the chicken coming from?
Well,
coming
jungle
from
bird. It's a jungle bird.
Why is the jungle bird? Because the jungle has got abundance. There are insects. There are an accumulation of what they need. And so, okay, perfect. They will take care of insects. They will bring super concentrated fertilizer. They will bring so many amazing effects on the system. They will oxygenize. This is the most important thing, as many people that have chickens. First thing they do when they come here, they come and they expose the color of the trees to the sun, because most of the dormant insects, they will go here. So they go there, they remove some organic matter in soil, so you have more sun and oxygen entering. So no Phytophthora, no problems on the color, no fungal problem on the color. The color is a critical point between two different worlds. Yeah, and we don't give much attention to how the color is managed, but most of or many tree disease, they start from there. And so to have an animal that needs that the forests is healthy, just like the earthworm. Earthworm, it creates the good conditions in the soil in order to have more biomass and microorganisms to eat. Chickens wants to have the forest. So if there is a predator that moves them in the system so they will not degenerate the system, then they will provide to the system all those elements and services needed to maintain or increase the quality of the system itself. And so it's beautiful. I love this because, for example, you have apple trees on M106. I'll show you rootstocks, which they're extremely susceptible to collar rot. And either you go with operator or machineries, but then you have the most precise machinery in the world, which is the chicken. So I always talk about appropriate genetics of the technology and machineries, as well as appropriate genetics of the animals. We have organic technologies and inorganic technologies, but both of them, they have to have the right genetics in order to have all of this functioning properly. And here we have alder trees, nitrogen fixing.
Nice.
Fodder trees, beautiful, protecting the grape from partially from hail. So often people tell me, yes, but what about here? The hail, it will hit it super hard. The thing is that hail that comes down without wind doesn't do much damage. The problem is that the hail that comes with the wind.
Interesting.
So I need to have interference here and there to stop nearly horizontal or diagonal, and this works properly, super properly. You see it on what's the name, on the kiwi fruit without trees, fucked. You come here, same hail event, perfect. You go to the apple trees, perfect.
Yeah,
So
fascinating.
you see that it works. It works. And here you see that the density, now you can walk there, the density of those trees is better because we have the forest there, so we have a strong wind coming from there. Also 100, we had once 156 kilometer per hour wind, which it destroys so many trees at the beginning. And but the forest protected all the first trees, and all of this one is the new regrowth that was broken. So the forest protected the first ones, and you see from here how high they are. Yeah. So, but now because of those are big, they are more protected. And then, so always starting from the edges if there is lots of wind, and moving is simple. So here we have fodder production, nitrogen fixation, future support for the grape. We have table grape production. These are 18 varieties that we are testing. Joster, and here we have first the sheep and then the chickens. So one system, lots of services. We lose the grape, we have the joster, we have the animals, and an increase of biomass. It goes well, the grape, it doesn't go well, those one, they always grow well. And then we have another elements, which is, that one is Siberian elm tree. Super fast growing, very good tree for as a fodder. And again, as the lines up there, when the sheep will be here, we cut them and then give it to the animals. Coppicing.
Beautiful.
So this again is a bit more complex system, but still, it's how many species? It's like 4.
But it's not overly complex.
No.
It's not something that you couldn't train somebody to go manage a certain element of it. It's not complex in the sense that like there's 24 different species in the same line, and you just have to know how to manage this with this, and when it's next to this, you have to manage it differently. Versus here, it's well optimized for workflows, for very clear, like, no, this is the crop that's prioritized here.
But then we realized that in good, I'm realizing that, I don't know why, but there is not much production this year here. But this is the best producing, like
they're meant to be black.
Like super black. If you try this one, it's still super sour. Yeah, try but. Let's start. Look, try this. You start to understand the aromatic tastes that it can get, but it becomes super black.
It's almost tomatoey, like a rich
Interesting.
tomato.
Yeah. Could be.
Mm.
You want? Not ready yet, but getting there.
Mm. The last system, number 16, is actually the OG peaches. And again, another area that he's going to do a full reset, cut them down because they were really struggling, but not for the reason you think. They were too overloaded. They were so abundant and the management just wasn't there to prune them and thin the fruit, breaking branches and disease as a result of that. And so they're going to do a full reset and redo the system, but it was really good for collecting data to see which peach varieties outperformed so that they could plant those in the newer systems. And he's actually looking at transitioning more to something where you have an emergent strata above the peaches of either pear or cherry, which are both emergent strata trees, more diversity, and just bringing a little bit more management and refined species or variety selection for the ones that just do the best in that area.
Problem of the peaches is that it was a simple system actually, nothing complex. We enter in production too fast. Second year, we got already 30, 35 kilos per tree, and they broke. Yeah, there were other two lines too. They broke the branches, and from there they got diseases. We don't use copper. We don't use different pesticides, organic pesticides. So this has been produced enough to repay the whole thing and more. But now I know that here the peaches they grow too well, and you have to reduce the amount of fruits like crazy.
Just a lot of
It's
management.
completely fucked up
Yeah.
because of like branches with hundreds of kids. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, but this it will be maybe not this year, next year, all removed, and I will. I think I will go for such a system. Maybe
that.
not just like that. It could be espalier cherries or pear with emergent trees.
Well, cherries and pear are both emergent already, yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I would probably not use Polonia. Otherwise, you have to manage it a lot. Maybe Gleditsia trecanthus and espalier trees. What I see is that the behavior of the plant, also in shade tolerance, it changes. Once you change the vigor of the plant, because if you think, how did we selected rootstocks? First, by observing in nature how they were growing, and they were growing in different environments. So to a different rootstock is connected a different environment and so on. So I really see that based on the rootstock, even the behavior of the grafting, it changes.
Yeah.
Same variety of the graft and different rootstocks, it completely changes. The psychology of the plant changes.
Yeah, interesting.
So
I guess I hadn't considered it before. Maybe that would influence what strata and position or even growth habit, if anything.
Yeah. But you see it in the amount of chlorophyll and pigments that produces based on the rootstock. The color of the leaves, it changes because it's more capable of increasing the photosynthetic capacity in shaded environment rather than in more sunny environment. So it's complex.
Yeah.
And I want to test it.
Yeah.
At least I know what is working.
Yeah.
I want to know what is not working or what it could work.
It'd be interesting to see this version with the same peaches and palonia.
Yeah.
For you, the peaches are too much work.
No. We planted lots of peaches. The only thing is that in the second and third year, I should reduce the amount of fruit that the tree produces.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it grows fast. It grows too fast.
Yeah.
And so for sure to have a little bit more shade is fine because peaches loves some shade. But I don't think the main problem was the lack of shade.
No,
it's not that. I don't think it was not that because the trees broke.
Yeah.
Here we had the eucalyptus missing because all the different species that we tried.
Yeah, of the figs and the eucalyptus, and then some of the eucalyptus didn't work.
Exactly. Yeah. So we know, for example, the globulus, it works, but look, the difference.
Yeah.
Those two there.
The viminalis is one of my favorites.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Also Guni. I really like the Guni. And I would like to try to extract, maybe in a couple of years' time, to extract the sap.
Okay.
You can extract the manna.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. But when do they flower in your?
None of mine are flowering at the moment.
Not yet.
They're not mature enough. Yeah. I only started planting now. Will be now 5 years ago.
Okay, so maybe 8 years or 9.
We'll
they
see.
should be maybe not this year, next year. I'm curious. We planted them also because we have a big crisis with the honey industry.
Yeah.
Normally from end of June until September, it's nothing.
Yeah. And
These guys, and then I'm planting lots of stuff that has got flowers during the later period. I'll show you also in the nursery.
Yeah.
And so let's see, because we also have bees, and it's important to have some help for them. Yeah.
Well, and with so much diversity around, you're guaranteed to have something going.
Yeah, but I want to have something rather than just surviving.
Deliberate.
My idea is that with the climate change, we should get to a point where the spring flowers, which they were traditionally the ones that would produce honey, I want them to become the support for the colonies, to grow strong colonies, and then to plant ecosystems for bees, edges, and so on all over, to provide production for July, August, September. Because normally in springtime now it's raining and they lose this and that, and the beekeepers, they're just failing. And so we should for sure know that during summertime it doesn't rain so much, and let's have more species that can flower.
As opposed to just flowering in spring.
Yeah. This is rented land, so this is why we didn't plant a tree. I really love giant grasses, so we planted that.
Is that what is that for you?
This is miscanthus.
Miscanthus, beautiful. Yeah.
I love it.
Love it.
Lots of biomass. I love also system with that. Just imagine, we don't have space here, but it's something that I really want to do in some other places. Just imagine an edge like this with emergent trees, like whatever.
Super nice. Yeah.
It's like so
Wind
much
buffer, shade, moderated climate.
Animal, birds, and so on. Fantastic. Yeah. Here we have the older
olives.
Olive orchard, and here, just as a test, we planted cypress. I don't want to reduce the amount of sun for the olives because here is not. But I want to have these towers for insects.
Yeah, nice.
So not for insects, for birds.
Birds
eating insects.
Yeah, great. Because they're very columnar, they don't take much space.
Yeah, evergreen. They provide a beautiful protection for animals.
And for those who stuck around to the very end, I'm going to reward you with a bonus system number 17, apples and honey locust. And I think he said these apples are about 3.5 meters between each other, and then in between those are the honey locust, and the honey locust are an emergent species, right? They're a nitrogen fixer, and they have these really small lobed leaves, which is perfect type of shade for apples and other high strata species, because you maybe observed the palonia have these really big leaves and they cast a different kind of shade. Not all shade is the same, right? Imagine trying to use an avocado for an emergent species. Well, it casts high strata shade. It has big lobed leaves, whereas a lot of these nitrogen fixers will have lobed leaves and they cast a very specific kind of shade. And so in this system, you can actually neglect these honey locust like he's done. He hasn't managed them recently, but still the apples underneath are thriving. They're getting just that perfect amount of dappled sunlight still that they're wanting through that emergent canopy. Whereas if you neglected a palonia system like that, for example, the shade might be too abrasive and not quite compatible with the apples. And so a really beautiful pairing between the apples and the honey locust, or you could use black locust if you're looking for fence posts. Phenomenal.
It needs to be pruned more, but still you see the amount of apples.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it can work. This is a simple system. I really like it because it's good for animals and fruit production. Again, you see here, first trees protected by the forest bigger.
Yeah.
And then little by little, these ones, 2 years ago, they were super small.
Yeah.
And those ones super big. And now they're growing because of the protection.
So it's apple, honey locust, and whatever other spontaneous, like maybe nettle underneath, but really, that's it. And the spacing of the apples is still 6 meters?
No. These are on M106. So it's less vigorous, even though they grew fucking a lot of some of them.
I can see that.
Every 4 trees is a new variety. So I don't remember, what is that? 3. Watch out here, there are branches.
Yeah.
It's 3 meters, I think, or 4. It looks...
Maybe 3.5?
3.5, I think it was, yeah.
So 3.5 between the apples, in between honey locust.
Yeah.
Beautiful, really nice emergent shade. Obviously the apples are healthy, and you're saying they stay healthy through like the hottest, driest part of summer.
Yeah. And the nice thing about the why the honey locust is because is synchronized perfectly with the flowering of the apple.
Oh, okay.
This is one of the last leaf-bearing plants around here.
Yeah.
So that means the apple finished to flower, and then this light shade, they come up and they say, hello, I'm here to protect you.
Nice.
So here we just need to prune. Actually, this year I didn't even prune the apples because I didn't have time. But it's okay. I think there is plenty of apples growing. So it's.
Hey, thank you very much, man. It was a huge pleasure. Yeah.
Thanks to you.
Lovely to see all the work you guys are doing as a team. Like, really inspirational stuff.
Super. Thanks a lot and for what you're doing and spreading. We are not good influencers, and it means that we don't manage to go to a wider, wider amount of people. So thanks a lot for what you're doing.
The work is speaking for itself though, because other people are saying, oh, you got to go see Matteo, you got to go see the site. So that's why I'm here.
Nice.
And it was a huge pleasure. Thank you. And if you have any advice for anybody who's wanting to do something similar, 60 seconds, 30 seconds of what you would say to pass on.
Observe a lot, go in the forests, go in visiting farms, go pasture land, always try to get as many information as you can with your senses, and then study and then go to courses. But reactivate the observation tool, which is the most important from my point of view. Yeah, observe, feel, sense the ecosystems that surrounds you, and then always give yourself 10-50% of time and space and resources to experiment. But always do things in such a way that you will be also rewarded economically, because nature is always super efficient from the economical point of view. So I think it's extremely important to value economy linked to ecology. But still, we have to survive somehow, and it's important that everything we do is not excessively naive. It's important experimentation, but with experimentation, it becomes too much. It detaches from reality. So yeah, I would say this: experiment a lot, observe a lot, and always keep in mind that economy is not something. Money is not something bad. It's something that allows us to scale and replicate what we are doing on a wider landscape.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for everything. It's a pleasure to meet you. Matteo.
Thanks a lot.
Excellent. So hopefully you enjoyed that, took some interesting ideas away for your farm or your project, and I'll see you in the next one. There should be a good video recommended somewhere here. See you soon.